I've been working with a bandsaw for a really long time, and I've picked up a lot of tips along the way that have made a big difference. Today I'm going to share two of them with you. But I'll warn you, one of these techniques is a little bit controversial. I've heard some people say it's not safe. I'll let you be the judge of that. But both these techniques will make it possible for you to just walk up to your saw and make a perfect cut along any line, whether it's straight or curved. The first technique is for making quick cross cuts. Let's say I want to trim a board shorter, but I want a good quality cut that's square and clean like it was done with a table saw sled. Now I could draw a line with a square and then try to follow that, but it's going to take more time and the result's going to be less than perfect. So I'll simply start the cut at the edge. Then instead of advancing forward, I lift the workpiece up into the blade. Just like that, the cut is clean and perfectly square. The width of the board you can do this on depends on how high you can raise your saw's upper guides. It's quick and easy, but is it safe? Well, if you aren't familiar with how bandsaws work, you might think it looks a little sketchy. But bandsaws aren't table saws. Table saw blades spin towards you. If they catch the wood, they can kick it back. But bandsaws cut downward toward the table. They can't kick back like a table saw. Of course, that doesn't mean a bandsaw can't be dangerous. For example, I would never reverse this cut by leaning the top of the board into the blade first. In that position, the cut's unsupported. The teeth could then catch the wood and violently pull it down toward the table and my hands toward the blade. But by starting from the bottom and lifting upward, there's never a point where the teeth are cutting down into unsupported wood. I've been doing this for years. It's a quick and easy way to get a perfect crosscut with a bandsaw. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now the other tip is even better because it's going to help you cut along any line of any length, even if it curves and meanders all over the place. A lot of folks use their bandsaws to cut close to their lines, then they use another tool like a sander to remove the last little bit so their cut's perfect. I've learned to cut right along my lines the first time by steering with the back of the blade. That's what I'm doing here. I'm cutting right on my line, not next to it. I'm not afraid of crossing it. My cut is nice and straight with no fence. And here I'm cutting a curve, again, right on my line with near perfect accuracy. I'm able to do this quickly and easily because I'm not steering the cut with the teeth on the front of the blade. I'm using the back of the blade. This technique will really change how you use your bandsaw because your cuts will be smoother, you won't be doing a ton of sanding to your lines anymore, and you'll find yourself using your saw a lot more and getting much better results freehand. The principle is simple. The kerf cut by the blade in the wood is wider than the blade is thick. You can see how I'm able to move the blade inside the kerf. This is true with any blade on any bandsaw because of the set of the teeth. Each tooth is bent very slightly to the side, alternating from left to right. This causes the front of the blade to act as if it's really thicker than it is, and it cuts a wider kerf to match. That extra room left for the back of the blade is what makes it possible to steer a cut by turning the blade to one side or the other. But you can also use this feature to your advantage to make perfectly straight cuts or to follow curves more easily. Watch again from behind as I rip a strip from this workpiece. Note how I'm keeping the back of the blade against the side of the kerf. It's just touching it lightly, but it makes all the difference. I'm essentially using the edges of the kerf as a fence to guide my blade. You might even say this makes the cut self-guiding to some extent. I do have to steer a bit more at the start, but once the full width of my blade is inside the kerf, I've established a bit of a straight edge for the back of my blade to ride against. As the cut progresses and the kerf grows longer, the fence-like edge does too, and it continues right to the end. Technically, this works no matter which side of the kerf you bias toward, but I always like to use my line side as the guide for the back of my blade. Now you might be wondering, if I'm twisting the blade to turn the back of it against one side of the kerf, why isn't the cut turning as well? How am I cutting straight instead of a curve? Because I'm not twisting very hard. I'm just touching the back of the blade against the edge. If I do twist more, I can turn the cut. Here's some gradual curves, such as you might cut for chair legs or other common furniture parts. I'm turning the workpiece a bit more because I'm no longer cutting along a straight line, but I'm still letting the side of the kerf steady and guide the back of my blade. And because of that, I'm able to follow my line much more accurately. I'm serious, try this out. It's going to make a world of difference. It's partly a matter of feel, but mostly it's a matter of just watching the back of the blade with your eyes instead of fixating on the front. That doesn't mean I'm not aware of where the front of the blade is going. I keep glancing at it, but my focus is on the back. That's the trick. Now, a couple points to keep in mind before you try this. First, the wider the blade is, the easier it'll be. That's true with any cut. Wider blades are just easier to control. I'm using a 3/4 inch blade. This works well with 1/2 inch or 3/8. It's a little more difficult with a 1/4 inch, but it's still doable. Also, the thickness of the wood doesn't matter. I'm using some hardboard because I had a scrap handy. The same technique will work with thicker materials as well. Finally, you should have a well-tuned saw. It doesn't have to be a fancy one like mine, but the guide should be properly set and the blade should be tracking where it's supposed to. I have a separate video about tuning up your bandsaw that I'll link to below. A well-tuned bandsaw is going to be easier to control in any situation. I mean it, these two techniques are game changers for anyone with a bandsaw. Try them out and let me know what you think in the comments. But first, I'd appreciate it if you'd check this out. I have a lot of different calipers, and they all measure things with precision, something that really matters in my shop. In fact, I find myself using my caliper in just about every project. And this particular one is unique. It mixes the convenience of a modern digital readout with the extra features of an old school dial scale. Now, most of the time I'm using the digital readout because it's quick and easy, whether I set it to fractions or to decimals. I also like the ability to switch from imperial to metric because, yes, I do use metric sometimes here in the US. But I find that the old school dial setting is nice to have for certain tasks, such as when I'm judging the difference between two measurements, or if I'm having trouble wrapping my head around the math. I'm not sure that folks who have only ever used digital readouts know what I'm talking about, but anyone who has ever used a dial caliper knows exactly what I mean. Dials are just better sometimes, and I really like having access to both in a single tool. It also helps that this caliper has a lot of other features. For example, it quick charges with a magnetic connection, so no more batteries to change. It has programmable sleep modes, so you don't have to accidentally leave it on. While it's sleeping, it remembers its setting and it automatically wakes up when you go to take another measurement. There's a hold feature, which locks in your reading when you're using it in a tight space, and another function to display high and low tolerance. And the quality is evident right away, especially from the weight. In fact, it's mostly made of stainless steel. This might be my new workhorse caliper. It's definitely worth checking out at the link below.